Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk to you about something that every single one of us has faced: the storms of life. You know those moments when the sky darkens, the wind's howling, and it feels like the weight of the world is pressing down on your shoulders. In those moments, it's easy to feel isolated, overwhelmed, and even defeated. But I am here to tell you, you are not alone in the storm. Life has a way of throwing us into situations that shake us to our core. It's as if the universe is testing our resilience, pushing us to our limits just to see how much we can endure. Sometimes the storms come suddenly, without warning, and they hit us with a ferocity that leaves us breathless. Other times they creep in slowly, one disappointment after another, building up until we find ourselves overwhelmed, feeling like we're drowning in a sea of despair. But here's the truth: every single person, no matter how strong they appear on the outside, has faced storms. No one is immune. The difference lies in how we respond, how we hold on to hopes, and whether we recognize that even in the chaos, we are not alone. When we look at life's storms, it's easy to feel like we're isolated in our struggles. We believe that nobody truly understands what we're going through because, after all, that storm feels uniquely ours. But the reality is, hardship is a universal experience. Every person on this earth faces challenges, setbacks, failures, and heartbreaks. It's part of the human condition. The question is not whether you will face storms, but how you will face them. Will you let them break you, or will you let them build you? Will you allow them to drown you in despair, or will you choose to see them as opportunities for growth? Recognizing that storms are inevitable is the first step toward resilience. Life is not about avoiding the rain. It's about learning how to dance in it, to find grace amid chaos, and to trust that even in the darkest clouds, there is a silver lining waiting to be revealed. The storms of life are not punishment. They are a part of our journey. They serve as a divine mechanism for refinement. When the wind howls and the rain pours, it's not a sign that God has abandoned us. It's a reminder that we are alive, that we are human, and that we are being shaped into the people we are meant to become. Think about a diamond. It's not created in calm, still waters. It's formed under immense pressure, heat, and darkness. That pressure is necessary for its brilliance to shine. Our storms work the same way. They push us into situations that challenge our faith, our patience, and our perseverance. And through that process, we emerge stronger, more radiant, more confident in the knowledge that we can withstand anything life throws our way. Facing storms requires a mindset rooted in hope and trust. It's not enough to merely endure. We must learn to trust that there is purpose behind our pain. Trust that the chaos is not the end of the story, but a chapter in a larger divine narrative. When storms threaten to drown us, our instinct might be to grasp tightly to everything we can see and hold on to. But true trust invites us to let go of control, to surrender our fears, and to lean into the one who sees beyond our current circumstances. It's about understanding that our Heavenly Father is not distant during our trials. He is present, carrying us, guiding us, and shaping us through every gust of adversity. Trust in God during turbulent times is a conscious choice. It's a decision to believe that even when storms rage around us, there is a calm within that cannot be shaken. Faith becomes our anchor when everything else feels like it's slipping away. It's the foundation that keeps us standing when the ground beneath us feels unstable. Trusting God doesn't mean that we won't feel pain. It doesn't mean that we won't have moments when doubt creeps in, or when we wonder if we're going to make it through. But it does mean that we hold on to the promise that He will never leave us nor forsake us. His love is unwavering, His grace is sufficient, and His mercy endures forever. When we put our trust in Him, we acknowledge that He is bigger than any problem, stronger than any storm, and more faithful than any failure. Building that trust is an ongoing process. It's a daily choice to believe that God is working everything out for our good, even when we can't see it. It's about reminding ourselves that our struggles are temporary and that they serve a purpose in shaping our character and deepening our faith. When you face hardship, don't ask, "Why me?" Instead, ask, "What am I meant to learn?" Because every storm has a lesson, and every lesson brings us closer to the divine purpose for our lives. Trusting God in the storm is not passive. It's an active declaration that we believe His promises, that we rely on His strength, and that we refuse to be defeated by circumstances. In those moments of challenge, remember that you are not fighting alone. The Creator of the universe is with you, holding you up when you feel like falling. His love is enough to sustain you through the fiercest winds. Trust that his plans for you are good, that his timing is perfect, and that your breakthrough is coming. It's in trusting him that we find peace in the chaos, hope in the despair, and courage in the face of uncertainty. Our storms may shake the earth beneath our feet, but they cannot shake the foundation of our faith when we choose to trust God wholeheartedly, even in the midst of our darkest moments. When the weight of life feels unbearable and the future seems shrouded in uncertainty, one thing remains constant: God's presence. It's a truth that often gets overshadowed by our pain, but it is the anchor that keeps us grounded when everything around us is shifting. When the storms of life rage, it's easy to forget that God is not distant, he is near. His presence is not just a comforting thought, but an unshakable reality. It's in those quiet, vulnerable moments when we realize that we are never truly alone. That divine presence is holding us, walking with us through the fire, and whispering promises of hope and restoration into our hearts. Think about the moments when life has knocked you flat on your back. Those days when your plans have crumbled, your dreams have been deferred, and the tears have become your closest companions. In those moments, it's tempting to feel abandoned, to believe that somehow God has turned his face away. But if we look closely, if we listen carefully, we will see that his presence is right there, in the cracks of our brokenness, in the silence of our suffering, waiting to remind us that we are still loved, still valued, still chosen. His presence is a shelter in the storm, a refuge when everything else is falling apart. It's the reassurance that even when the world seems to be crashing down around us, there is a divine power holding us together, whispering, "You are not alone. I am with you." In those moments of despair, it's easy to focus on what's lost, what's broken, what's gone wrong. But what if we shifted our perspective? What if we began to see those storms as moments of divine visitation? What if we viewed our pain not as punishment, but as an invitation for God to reveal himself more clearly? Because it's in those dark valleys that we often encounter God in ways we never could in the bright, easy days. It's in the silence and the stillness that his voice becomes more audible, his love more tangible. When we are at our lowest, God's presence becomes our strength, our comfort, and our hope. It's the quiet assurance that no matter how fierce the storm, his hand is holding ours, guiding us through the night until morning. God's presence in our lives is a promise that we can cling to, especially when everything around us feels chaotic. It's not a fleeting feeling or a passing thought. It's an unchanging truth rooted in divine faithfulness. When doubts creep in and fear begins to take hold, we can remind ourselves that the creator of the universe is near. His presence is like a lighthouse, shining brightly in the darkness, guiding us safely home. It's a tangible reality that gives us peace beyond understanding. A calm in the storm that no external circumstance can steal away. Trusting in his presence is an act of surrender. It's an acknowledgement that we are powerless on our own, but empowered by the divine. We learn to lean not on our understanding, but on his omniscient wisdom. Knowing that even in the chaos, he is working all things together for our good. The truth is, we often underestimate the power of his presence because we look for him in the big, dramatic moments, but God shows up in the quietest, most subtle ways. Sometimes it's a gentle whisper in the stillness. Other times it's a divine nudge that guides us in the right direction. The key is to remain receptive, to cultivate an awareness that his presence is constant, even when we don't see it or feel it. It's about learning to trust that his omnipresence is more real than the storm itself. When we acknowledge that God is with us, we gain a new perspective on our struggles. We realize that they are not just random occurrences, but part of a divine strategy to deepen our faith and draw us closer to him. God's presence in the storm is a reminder that we are not fighting alone. We have a divine partner walking with us every step of the way. His presence brings peace in chaos, hope in despair, and strength in weakness. It's a promise that no matter how fierce the winds blow or how high the waters rise, his comforting presence will never leave us. When we open our hearts to his divine presence, we become aware of the countless ways he reveals himself. Through a kind word, a divine coincidence, a moment of clarity and confusion, or a peace that surpasses all understanding. His presence is the unshakable foundation that sustains us through every trial, every heartbreak, and every moment of uncertainty. We must learn to posture ourselves in his presence, to seek him intentionally, to invite him into every detail of our lives. Because when we do, we tap into a divine power that can turn our despair into hope, our weakness into strength, and our brokenness into beauty. His presence is not just a comfort, it is a catalyst for transformation. It's the assurance that even when everything around us is crumbling, We are being held securely in the palm of his hand. His presence is the anchor that keeps us steady in the midst of the storm, reminding us that no matter how turbulent the waters, we are rooted in divine love and eternal hope. In the quiet moments, when the storm is raging outside but peace reigns within, we find that God's presence is the real power that sustains us. It's the divine oil that keeps our lamps burning bright, the light that guides us through the darkness. When we truly recognize and embrace his presence, we discover that we are stronger than we ever imagined, more resilient than we ever thought possible, because his presence is the proof that we are never truly alone. That in the chaos, divine love is working behind the scenes, orchestrating every detail for our good. Learning to dwell in his presence during the storm is the key to surviving and thriving in the midst of adversity. Knowing that his omnipresence is the promise that sustains us through every season. As we begin to understand that God's presence is always near, we start to see our hardships in a different light. They are not just obstacles. They are opportunities for divine encounters. They are invitations to experience his comfort, his strength, and his love more deeply. His presence transforms our perspective, changing our despair into hope and our weakness into power. It's in those moments that we realize the truth. God's presence is the most powerful force in the universe, and it is always available to us. When we learn to lean into his divine nearness, we find that even in the chaos, we are held loved and carried by a divine presence that will never fail us. There's a divine purpose that lies within each of us, waiting to be uncovered, waiting to be revealed through our journey of faith and perseverance. It's easy to look around and compare ourselves to others, to wonder if we're enough or if our dreams are too big, too bold, too impossible. But the truth is, nobody else has your unique fingerprint on their life, your specific story, or your divine calling. You are crafted with intention, filled with purpose, and placed here on this earth for a reason that only you can fulfill. Sometimes the greatest obstacle to walking in that purpose is our own doubt and fear. We look at our limitations and see them as barriers instead of stepping stones. We focus on what we lack instead of what we have been given. The moment we start to believe that our dreams are too big, that our past mistakes disqualify us, or that our circumstances are too overwhelming, we begin to diminish the power that is already within us. But what if we shifted that perspective? What if we saw every challenge, every setback, every failure not as the end, but as part of the process that shapes us into who we are meant to become? Because every great story of victory is written through adversity. Every hero's journey involves struggle, sacrifice, and perseverance. Our purpose is not the absence of difficulty, but the ability to persevere through it, knowing that on the other side of our persistence lies divine fulfillment. God has deposited extraordinary potential within each of us, potential that can move mountains, change lives, and usher in transformation not just for ourselves, but for those around us. It's easy to forget that when we're caught up in the noise of doubt and discouragement. But the truth is that divine potential is waiting for us to activate it through faith, action, and unwavering trust. We are called to be vessels of purpose, carriers of hope, and agents of change. Sometimes that means stepping out of our comfort zones, daring to dream bigger than our circumstances, and trusting that the divine power within us is enough to carry us through the impossible. Walking in our purpose requires courage. Courage to face the fears that hold us hostage, the voices that tell us we're not enough, and the doubts that threaten to drown our dreams. Courage doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means moving forward despite it. It means choosing to believe in the divine destiny that has been written over your life long before your feet even hit the ground. When you embrace your purpose, you align yourself with divine intention, and suddenly the obstacles become opportunities for God to show his strength through your weakness. You realize that every setback is a setup for a comeback, and every failure is a lesson that propels you closer to your divine calling. There's a divine timing that governs everything. It's a rhythm, a flow that we must learn to trust. Sometimes we want things to happen instantly, to see the fruit of our labor immediately, but growth and purpose are often cultivated in the waiting. Patience is not passivity, it's active trust. It's a declaration that I believe that what God has started in me, he will bring to completion in his perfect timing. Waiting tests our faith, stretches our patience, and refines our character. It's in those seasons of waiting that we develop resilience, that we learn to lean more deeply into God's promises, and that we discover the strength that lies within us. When we understand that our purpose is greater than us, that our lives are part of a divine tapestry, we begin to see obstacles as opportunities for divine intervention, the setbacks, the delays, the disappointments, they all serve a purpose in shaping us into vessels capable of carrying the greater weight of our destiny. Our purpose is not just a goal. It's a divine assignment, a calling that requires perseverance, faith, and unwavering trust. It's about showing up every day, even when the road is unclear, even when we feel exhausted or discouraged. Because we know that each step forward is a step closer to fulfilling what we were born to do. We have to remember that our purpose is not just about achievement or success. It's about impact. It's about making a difference in the lives of others, about shining our light so brightly that others are inspired to do the same. When we walk boldly in our purpose, we become beacons of hope, carriers of love, and vessels of divine power. Our lives are not accidental. They are sacred assignments. Every experience, every heartbreak, every triumph, and every failure has prepared us for what's ahead. The key is to stay committed, to keep pressing through the challenges, and to trust that the divine plan is unfolding exactly as it should. In the midst of uncertainty, it's crucial to hold on to hope. Hope is the fuel that sustains us when the path seems unclear, when the road is rough, and when the future feels distant. Hope keeps us moving forward, even when we can't see what's around the corner. It's the confident expectation that God's promises are yes and amen, that He is working behind the scenes, orchestrating divine connections and preparing us for greater than we can imagine. Hope is not wishful thinking. It's a divine assurance rooted in faith. And faith, combined with action, becomes the catalyst that propels us into our purpose. We must also recognize that our purpose is a journey, not a destination. It's a continuous unfolding, a process of growth, learning, and becoming. Each season teaches us something vital about ourselves and about the divine plan for our lives. Sometimes we outgrow old mindsets, habits, or relationships that no longer serve our purpose. Other times we have to confront our fears, release our doubts, and step into the unknown with boldness. Every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. Every act of obedience, every decision to trust, brings us closer to the fullness of our divine destiny. Remember, purpose is not reserved for a select few. It's available to all who are willing to pursue it with faith and perseverance. We are called to live intentionally, to wake up each day with a purpose-driven mindset, knowing that our lives have divine significance. When we embrace that truth, we become unstoppable. Our setbacks become setups for comebacks. Our failures become lessons, and our fears become fuel for our faith. The divine purpose within us is too powerful to be silenced by doubt or fear. It is a flame that only needs to be ignited through our faith, our action, and our unwavering trust in divine timing. Walking in purpose is about making a decision each day to show up, to believe in the possibility of what can be, and to keep moving forward regardless of circumstances. And in those moments when the weight of life feels heavy, when the enemy tries to whisper that we are not enough or that our dreams are too big, we must remember that all of heaven is cheering us on. The divine purpose within us is a testament to our worth, our destiny, and our divine potential. So we are not here by accident. We are here because we are essential to the divine plan. Our purpose is a gift, a divine assignment that requires us to stand tall, to walk boldly, and to trust that with God's help, we can accomplish what seems impossible. Our lives are a testament that divine purpose is real, that hope is alive, and that our best days are still ahead. We just have to keep going, keep believing, and keep trusting in the divine power that lives within us to carry us through every season.